choosing the right care for your baby is one of the most important and toughest decisions that you will make for your child as a parent. And today we are going to be discussing two of those options, daycare and home care. Both of them have their pros and their cons, but which one is better for your baby? Let's discuss it. Regardless of the decision you make, understanding the options available will help your decision. First, let's talk about daycare. Daycare refers to a facility where children are cared for in the day. These centers can be anything from private facilities to an actual institutional place where children receive care while their parents are probably at work, unable at that time to care for them. So what can you expect from daycare? Your child will be cared for in a structured environment, meaning there will be times for different activities related to the care of your child, ranging from time for eating, time for napping, time for change of diaper. One of the key benefits of daycare is that it affords your child the opportunity to socialize with other children. This can help improve their social skills, their communicative skills, as well as help them develop their milestones. Daycares are typically manned by professionals at the care of children, so your baby will have multiple professional hands caring for them and will therefore benefit from professionalism from different persons who are specialized to do that. So daycares are usually staffed by a team of professionals who are experts at the care of children. Daycares are also typically supervised and regulated by the healthcare authorities and the government to ensure that they provide the basic standards of safety and good health. Now, home care refers to a situation where you have care of your baby done in your home, either through the services of a nanny or an individual or family member who comes to live and provide focused, individualized care for your child. The care in this setting tends to be personalized and individualized for your child because you have one person focusing on one child or children. Home care allows the child one-on-one and frequent focused attention with the caregiver, especially if it's a child that requires special care. With home care, the care can be more flexible, meaning the schedule can be rotated or made to revolve around the needs of the child, as against the daycare where you have strict timings for different activities. Another key thing which a lot of persons major on is the fact that the baby is going to be nursed in a familiar environment, in their home which they have known since they were born, and so it removes the option where they have to get used to a new setting or a new set of people, as the case may be. So when you have home care, it provides an option for the child to have some form of bonding or emotional bonding with their caregiver at home. So if you have a child who tends to have separation anxiety amongst a crowd or a lot of people, this type of care may be something that your child will benefit from. One of the key differences which a lot of people emphasize, like I said, is the benefit for socialization in the daycare. Now in daycare, like I told us earlier on, the child meets other children, interacts with them, builds relationships, even though they are still very young. I may not really fully understand the context of what a relationship means. They learn to build social cues. They develop their milestones. They learn to become communicative. You find that a child who will usually keep to themselves or be reclusive somewhat will tend to come out of their shell and then begin to interact more, begin to show more emotion because they have been exposed and they've been interacting with a lot more persons than they would if they were at home being cared for by one person. Now, while home care will afford your child the opportunity for more emotional bonding with their caregiver, they will not have this experience which other children in daycare will have, especially if the caregiver is alone and does not have other kids or there are no other kids in the house. So it depends on your priorities. Would you like your child to have more social interactions, or do you prefer to keep your baby at home with you, wait for the right time where they are grown, a little grown, and then more developed to understand what it means to be outside? And like for me, I prefer my children to start to talk before they make contact with any form of institutionalized care, whether educational or otherwise. Now let's talk about cost and affordability. Now it depends on the part of the world that you are in, right? So in this environment, maybe cheaper and more prudent than daycare, right? Because a daycare, depending on the type of school or the institution, may charge a bit more especially depending on the facilities that they provide, how good they are, how many staff they have. All these come into consideration. But for a nanny, it might be relatively more affordable per month, depending on your environment. In some parts of the world outside here, I'm in Nigeria, but outside Nigeria, it might be actually more expensive to hire a live-in nanny or a come-and-go nanny to stay with your children. Keep in mind that some nannies may require a leave to go home or a day off or some holiday even though daycares go on holiday, but just keep in mind that hiring a nanny will also come with some extra benefits in terms of labor and costs and day off for your nanny. So it depends on your budget, and therefore your budget must come into play to a large extent in deciding which of the options is best for your child. Now, with regards to flexibility and convenience, you may find that a daycare may be a little bit more restricted in the sense that for a lot of them, you might have a 7 to 6 service or an 8 to 4, 8 to 5, 8 to 9, a regulated service system, so that if you work a 9 to 5 job or something a bit more restricted, you may find that this may not be a comfortable arrangement for you, as against a home care where you can negotiate the time around when you arrive from work. You can also have a live-in nanny who will be with your baby regardless of what time you close till you can come home. So factor in your flexibility, the flexibility of your schedule, flexibility of your partner's schedule in making the decision for which of the two options to go for. For safety and regulation, for daycares in a standard environment where things work correctly, daycares are regulated even in the area of safety and health conditions. So therefore, you may find that it might be safer. Take note, I said it depends on the environment. It might be safer in a regulated environment to have your baby in a daycare, such that that facility is regulated by government to keep up a certain standard of safety. And so you can be sure that if there are incidents in a regulated environment where they keep to standard, please take note of the terms that I'm using, right? Because we're in an environment, a peculiar environment in Nigeria where sometimes things may not be how they appear or they seem to be or they should be. So if it's in an environment where things work, you may find that the staff in such a setup, a daycare setup, may be trained to offer things like CPR, to make sure they may have setups to keep the children safe and all that. So in terms of safety, a daycare may be safer if it's in a regulated setting. For home care, your child's safety is basically in your hands because this is care offered in your home. So it depends on the level of special expertise or the level of care or the level of skill of your nanny, right? Your child's safety depends on these things. So make sure to ensure that this is a nanny that comes with good reference, good working conditions, and especially try to get from agencies where they have trained nannies or persons who come with a good reputation of not, being careless or nonchalant. Make sure you get persons who know what to do in every situation or who can make sound decisions where there's an emergency. Now, with regards to quality and care for the child, for a daycare, this is also something very relative depending on your environment. The quality of service or care provided to your baby depends on how trained the staff in that daycare are, how skilled and how much regulation the government in the place where you are places on such facilities. So for a regulated place, they may go the extra mile to ensure that they provide quality service and quality of care for your child and for you. Good daycare centers will usually employ caregivers that are trained and specialized in child care, in child development, to ensure that your child gets the best of care. For home care, you will be likely relying on one person who will perform multiple roles in the care of your child. And this is why it's important to ensure that this person is experienced and knows what they are doing, is properly trained in things like CPR and the care of a child, knows the boundaries of maltreatment, knows what to do in an emergency and all that. Ultimately, your decision depends on your baby's needs, your family dynamics, and your priorities. Both options have their advantages and disadvantages, so the onus is on you to decide which of these options suits the needs of your child at the different stages in their development. If you're unsure, visit a lot of facilities, take your time, go around and find if there's a regulating bodies that regulate such places as a daycare, and know what is the standard. Research what is the standard required for a daycare, and then on your own decide what you require of someone who can be a home caregiver for your child. Be a family member who, if you ask me, I would prefer, especially if it's a family member you know and trust. Remember that whichever option you choose, the best care comes from a loving and nurturing environment. So if you found this video useful, as usual, please like it, share it with moms who benefit from the kind of content that we create, and keep coming back. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss out on videos like this. Thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.